Good morning, everyone. Welcome from Imagination Online Experience. Today, it is lesson number 3 from my art history course for everyone. Great to see you. My name is Aga, and I've been delivering various art activities at schools, museums, community centers in London. I'm really happy to see you again. Today I would like to tell you a little bit more about dot art. People has been using dots in their art many years, going back to Aboriginal art, indigenous people from Australia who created incredible paintings all made of dots. More contemporary artist Damien Hirst uses dots in his art in the form of circles and also large-scale paintings made of colorful dots. But I think the person who's been known for her dot art the most is Yayoi Kusama. Yayoi Kusama is a contemporary artist, which means she is still active, creating, and today she is 91 years old. She was born in Japan in 1929 and she loved drawing since she was a child. Her parents weren't very keen on her becoming an artist, but she was very persistent and she managed to convince them that this is the way she would like to take. So she studied art in Japan and then she moved to New York in 1950s. She met many famous artists and she co-created art movements such as pop art and minimalism. Yayoi Kusama is known as the princess of polka dot, because although she makes different types of art, including paintings, sculpture, performance, installation, all of them have something in common. Yes, you got it. It's dots. Yayoi tells a story about a moment in her life when she was a little girl and she had a hallucination. She saw something that wasn't there. So when she was in a field full of flowers, she suddenly felt that the flowers started talking to her and all the faces became like dots, and the dots were stretching as far as she could see until she felt she was disappearing into the field of endless dots. And that's what happens in her art. Very often we feel like we are entering a world of dots, becoming a dot ourselves. That moment when she was a child influenced her art forever. Yayoi Kusama moved back to Japan in 1970s, and she started selling art. She worked as an art dealer. This wasn't very successful, and she suffered from a mental breakdown, and she decided to check herself into mental health hospital. This was in 1977, and out of her own choice, she decided to stay there until now. She has her own art studio not far from the hospital, where she works on her large-scale paintings, and she uses her hallucinations in her art. She often sits down to her canvas and creates and documents the vision, completing the work in one sitting. She often forgets to eat, drink, or sleep. She's so involved in her painting. Yayoi Kusama puts her creativity into many forms of art. Not just paintings, installations, but also poetry, novels, fashion design, and even designing a bus. She also created films. Yayoi Kusama's most famous work is probably her pumpkin. Yes, pumpkin. This is a motif that appears really often in both her paintings, but also as sculptures, which are located in interesting places in the world. I love this one, just by the sea. It's overlooking the beautiful view, and with its vibrant colors and dotted texture, it just brings fun to the landscape. As you can see, Yayoi Kusama wears dots all over. In 1960s, she had a picture where she was totally covered in dots, and she was standing with a horse, which was covered in dots too. She's famous for her infinity rooms. Infinity rooms are immersive installations where all walls, floor, and ceiling are covered in mirrors to reflect hundreds of small, round LED lights that flash on and off in different color configurations. The dark room is lit by the reflection of colorful dots, giving the experience of being in a seemingly endless space. It's an absolutely wonderful experience to be in an infinity room designed by Yayoi Kusama. And I'm really looking forward to this installation opening at Tate Modern as soon as the museums will open its door again. It's actually meant to start today, the moment of filming this video. So I'm very much looking forward to that, and I hope you will also be able to visit Tate Modern and Yayoi Kusama's wonderful exhibition. Another immersive experience that she created is Obliteration Room. Look, this is an entirely white space, furnished with white furniture. Everything there is white until the visitors are invited to take a sheet of stickers with dots, of course, and stick them everywhere they wish. So, with the colorful dot stickers, they would fill in the room with Yayoi Kusama's famous dots. And within weeks, the room is transformed into an explosion of color. This project took place also at Tate Modern. I would love to see that. At first it was meant just for children, but it was such a great success. Everybody wanted to add the dot to the whole artwork. What do you think about it? Would you like to take part in such project? I'm sure you do. Great, so I hope I inspired you a little bit about this wonderful woman who creates dots for almost 6 decades. I would say more than 6 decades. And this is what we're going to do today. So let's start. Okay, everyone. We're going to create a perfect dot today. How do you make a perfect dot? Well, you can use different tools to do that. First of all, you can buy special tools, which I made for dot art. But you don't necessarily need that. You can use something you all have in your bathroom. And it's a simple cotton bud. So we are going to use these and dip them in paint to create a lovely picture of a pumpkin covered in dots. So I would like you first to prepare your cotton buds and other things that you may use for making dots. Sometimes the end of pencil is very good for that. It's got a round end, which can be very useful. You can also try with the end of a paintbrush. it will give you a small dot, which is also good to try out. And I would like you to take a testing paper and test out how your dot making is going. Right. For filling in paintings, pictures with dots, I really love using these round stickers. They're so good. If you have the opportunity to purchase these in a shop or online, that is a wonderful and easier way to do dot pictures in the style of Yayoi Kusama. Great! So now I would like you to prepare your space, prepare your materials, and we're ready to go. Today we are going to use watercolor paints, cotton buds. You will need a paintbrush to mix paint and create some color in your paint palette. It's also good to have a pencil, and when we're going to create a pumpkin picture, I used a single color coloring pencil and a felt tip pen. So these are also handy to have. Okay, so now it's time for creating. So the project based around the pumpkin by Yayoi Kusama, I would like to do it a little bit differently today. I like using old books that are no longer needed for reading, like this one, for example. It's a really old and damaged book, but it still has beautiful yellowish pages inside. So I really like using this kind of books for my art projects. This is something I did before. So this is Yayoi Kusama's pumpkin made on a page from an old book. And I also used some wonderful gold paint. This is liquid metal paint. You don't need to use gold. You can use any color. And I'm going to show you how to do it. Would you like to see how I did this pumpkin? Okay, here we go. So today you need to prepare your sketchbook. I'm gonna use an extra sheet of paper, which is a beautiful paper with watermark. You can even see, can you see the date? Can you see the date? When was this paper made? Isn't it incredible? This paper was made in 1887 in Enfield. So I decided to use it for this special project. So all you need is a marker, a watercolor pen I have. You can have a pencil in similar color, coloring pencil. Normal pencil if you'd like to start with a sketch. And you need some watercolor paints in the same color again. So I'm going for blue today. Right. So I'm gonna put away my lovely books, old antique books that are no longer needed for reading, and I'm using them for art projects, giving them another life in a way. So the first step will be, I just need to make some space on my desk. Wonderful. First step will be very gently sketching the shape of the pumpkin in the middle of my paper. So I'm gonna use blue, but you can use a pencil. So in case you make a mistake, you can easily rub it off. With the coloring pencil, it's not so easy. So you start with a tip of the pumpkin. It's got a little flat circle. Okay, and from that part we have some aubergine shaped parts of the pumpkin. Very good. So this is my sketch. What I'm gonna do now, let me just add a few more at the back. Okay, makes it more three-dimensional. So when I'm happy with it, I'm gonna use my felt tip pen to do the outline again. Because I used the blue pen, it actually looks really nice if you have bits that are not covered. So if you use the pencil, now use a felt tip pen to draw the shape of the pumpkin once again. Very good. Now what we need to do, we need to cover the main pumpkin with some dots. So you can do it two ways. You can do it by using something you surely have at home in your bathroom. So these are little cotton buds to clean your ears or clean parts of your body. I'm gonna prepare my blue paint and I'm gonna see. First, I'm gonna test it out to see how they look. So I'm putting some water in my watercolor paint. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing. Putting water inside my watercolor paint to create a little puddle of color. Yeah, you can see there's a lot of water in there, right? So now it's a good moment to dip in my cotton bud and start making dots. Yeah, I think it works really well. So I'm gonna dip in the cotton bud and start making dots. So the main thing here is to make the dots close to each other but not touching. Can you do that? Can you make them very close but not touching? Very good, everyone. And we're trying to make the rows quite straight, just like in works by Yayoi Kusama. Lovely. So I'm gonna do a row in the middle of each part of my pumpkin. Very good. I'm gonna add a bit more water in here and then give it a little swirl to release the color from the watercolor. And I'm ready to dip my cotton bud again. So depending how strongly you press, you're gonna achieve a different size. So try to make your dots as close to each other as possible without touching. That's really good. I'm gonna make another row here. So I'm now filling in each aubergine shaped part of the pumpkin, making dots very close. The cotton bud. If you wish, you can also just use your marker and make circles as perfect as you can. It's looking good. Well done, everyone. You need to be really patient for this task. noticed I'm trying to make my second row going in between the previous row. I can see that my watercolor is getting a bit dry. That means I need to add water and give it a little swirl. So keep doing that again and again. So you've got a puddle of color ready for your cotton bud. Great, so I've got one more left to go. I'm going to start from the top. And you can also change your cotton bud so it's going to have a nice clean outline. That's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to change to a clean cotton bud. It will give me a nice and fresh outline. On the beginning it's a bit smaller, slightly different size. And this part is finished for me. Well done. So the next step of our activity. Oh, I'm just thinking maybe I'm going to fill in this top part with just a few small dots. Second part of the activity, as you can see in my previous work, so the background I would like to look the other way. So I'm gonna leave my dots empty in this color of my paper. Well, I'm gonna paint the background in blue. Again, you can use a small brush and you can do it with watercolors. You can use your coloring pencil, which I think will be a really good idea to use it to draw the circles if you're not sure where you want them. So let's now cover all the background with circles. Make sure they're not touching. Make them as equal as you can. Try to do it the same size. It's gonna take a little while, so just be patient, keep going. Yayoi Kusama is a very, very patient artist, and she spends all her days creating her dot art. So we're just gonna cover all the background with circles. and then color in everything apart from the circle. So the circle will have color of the paper. Yes, and you can use colored paper if you have at home. If you want to use yellow or a light shade, it's also a great idea. This is a wonderful project celebrating this incredible Japanese artist. I wonder what color did you choose for your work today? Did you go for blue like me? Or maybe you chose orange, the color of pumpkin. What did you choose? I would love to do a gallery of all the artwork that children created, put together in one place. As you can see, I'm quite careful because my dots still haven't dried. So I'm careful not to smudge it with my arm or hand. So I'm not doing this part quite yet. I find it useful when I draw to turn around my artwork, so I've got better access to those parts that otherwise I could smudge. Of course, we don't want to destroy what we've just done so beautifully. So remember to turn around your sketchbook however it's the most comfortable for you to draw. So we're all drawing for pleasure, for enjoyment. So make sure your space is comfortable and that your sketchbook is in a comfortable position. I wonder how many circles are there in this artwork. Can anyone count it? It must be over 100. Do you like counting? Do you like maps? I do. I love including elements of mathematics in my art. That's why I often use a compass. Okay, I think I'm getting to the top of my page with the circle sketch. And now I need to decide if I prefer to do it with a paintbrush or if I prefer to do it with a felt tip pen. Going back to the background, if you're unsure which techniques you should use, it's always great to make a little testing page. So here on my testing page, I'm just gonna draw some circles again. And I'm gonna test if I prefer to color in the background with this felt tip pen, which is like a paintbrush. It's a beautiful felt tip pen, so you definitely have more precision. It's much more precise to do it with felt tip pen. Can be a little bit faster. So this is how it looks with the felt tip pen. And if I decide to use watercolor, I like the color more because it's brighter. And you can also decide how deep your color will be, adding more or less of the watercolor paint. So do use a testing page where you can compare those two techniques and decide which one will be best for your pumpkin. Right, I decided. I'm gonna go for this one, the watercolor paint. Perfect. So now all I need to do is cover all the background, all the spaces in between the dots with watercolor paint. Okay, let's do that. Well done, everyone. I hope you finished your project filling in the whole pumpkin with dots. And if you'd like to do more, you can use the template I prepared for you with a pumpkin surrounded by triangles. You can use lots of colors for this one. I think it would look great if all the triangles were filled in with different colors. And if you have the sticky dots handy, you could use them for sticking onto the pumpkin. That would look amazing. You can also just use your felt tip pens and draw circular shapes. Thank you so much for joining me for lesson 3, where I shared with you another wonderful female artist from Japan, Yayoi Kusama. If you would like to join me and learn about different artists, I also have 2 courses dedicated to Vincent van Gogh and Pablo Picasso. I thought these artists are so incredible, you can't just talk about them in one lesson. That's why there are 5 weeks of activities inspired by each of these artists. Next week, we are going to travel to Japan again, and we are going to talk about a wonderful artist that inspired both Yayoi Kusama, Vincent van Gogh, and many others. And it is Katsushika Hokusai. Hope you're gonna join me. Thank you and goodbye.